In this lesson, we're going to learn how to write a complete sentence. Now, if you think back to grade 1 and grade 2, you probably already know that a complete sentence has to have a capital at the beginning and a period or question mark or exclamation mark at the end, something to kind of end it. But not all things that you write down that start with a capital and a period are complete sentences. Let me show you what I mean. If I said the dog ran home, is that a complete sentence? Yes, it is. And we'll see why in a moment. But what if I just said the dog? Is that a complete sentence? You go up to your friend and you say, hey, the dog. Yeah, friend's probably going to look confused. He's probably going to tell you, hey, well, what about the dog? And that's because your friend is expecting you're going to say to him some sort of a complete sentence, and you just stopped at the dog, which makes no sense. Well, what if I put a period at the end, the dog, and then put a period, capital at the beginning, period at the end? Is that a complete sentence? Nope, because it's still not clear what you're trying to say. Okay, you're not telling me anything about the dog. You're just saying the dog. So here's what you need to know about a complete sentence. Yes, it does have to start with a capital and has to end with a period of some sort, but it has to have two parts. A simple sentence has two parts. It has one subject. And what's a subject? A subject is a person, a place, or a thing. We call those persons, places, or things, we call them nouns. That might be a new word that you haven't heard of before. A noun is a person, place, or thing. Now, we don't have any people in this, but we have a dog. And when we say person, we're talking about any sort of thing that's alive. Not just people, but trees and flowers and dogs and whatever. They all count in the person group. Places, Canada, Mexico, the mall, outside the park, they're all places. And things are things like, a purse, a fridge, any object. So we do have a subject in this sentence. It's the dog. Now you have to not just stop at the subject. You have to tell me something about the subject. We call that a predicate. Everyone say predicate. Say it a few times. Predicate, 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 predicate. Okay, it's a new word that you haven't heard of before. And what it means is when you describe or tell me what that noun is doing. So you tell me here we have a subject, the dog. You tell me it's running home. Now it's a complete sentence. It's got a subject. It's got a predicate. It's a complete sentence. Here's another one. The dog is black. Do we have a subject? Do we have a predicate? If we do, if we have both, we've got a complete sentence. Where's the subject? It's the dog. Where's the predicate? Where am I describing something about the dog? That it's black. Exactly. The dog is black. It's a complete sentence. Now, I can make this sentence more interesting. I could say the big dog is black, or the enormous dog is like jet black or something like that. Make it interesting. You can add more of those descriptive words, the adjectives and things like that. We'll talk about that later on to make it more interesting, but let's keep it simple for now. The dog is black. It's a complete sentence. How about this one? The dog. Remember we were talking about that? Does it have a subject? Yep. That's the subject. Red with red. But there's no predicate. I'm not describing anything about the dog. So this one doesn't count as a complete sentence. How about the dog has? That must be a complete sentence, right? It's gotta be. Capital, period. Okay, well, let's see. Do we have a subject? Yeah. Again, we have, it's not a person, but it's an animal. It's a dog. It counts. The dog has what? But never finished the description. It sounds like this person wanted to tell us something about the dog, but they didn't. And so there is no predicate. What's a predicate? Okay, predicate is when you describe what that subject is doing or something about it. Okay, so how could we make this a complete sentence? Well, we could say the dog has brown hair. If I put brown hair, then it would be a complete sentence. Or the dog has bad breath. That would be a complete sentence. Ew. They have those little mints for dogs. If that's the case with your dog, you should probably do something about that. Is that a complete sentence? Also, apples and cherries. Do we have a subject? Do we have any people? No, no people here. Do we have places? No. Do we have things? Yes, we do have things. We have apples and cherries. So we have a subject. But do we have a predicate? No, we're not describing the apples and cherries. How could we make a predicate if I asked you to make me a predicate for this? What could you say? You could say, also, apples and cherries are delicious. There, by writing are delicious, you're describing them. You're describing the way they taste. They taste delicious. And so that would be, but here was just also apples and cherries. If you go up to your friend and be like, hey, also apples and cherries, your friend's going to be like, hey, what are you talking about? Also apple. What about the also apples and cherries? What else do you want to tell me about it? Let's look at this one. Cherries are delicious. Do we have a subject? There's no people here. There's no places, but we do have a thing. We have cherries. That's our subject. Am I describing the cherries? Yes, I am describing the cherries here. I'm saying they're delicious. So that's my predicate. The mall has a swimming pool. Do I have a subject here? Do I have a person? No. Do I have a place? Yes, I do. It's the mall. That's my subject. Has a swimming pool. That's the description. I'm telling you that the mall has a swimming pool. It's the predicate. We have now this last activity here. And what you need to do is look at all this. We have strained her shoulder, a black cat, the large purse, tasted good with barbecue sauce, jumped over the fence, the chicken. Some of these are subjects and others are predicates. What you need to do is take the subjects and put them in the subject box. It's like a matching activity. And take the predicates and put them in a box. So if you want to pause the video, be my guest. I'm going to go ahead and just solve it right now. So let's look at a black cat. What is that? That's a subject. It's like the person part, right? It's a person, place, thing. It's an animal. So I'm going to put it here in the subject part. If I put it in predicate, look, it bounces back. But if I put it in the subject, yeah. What kind of predicate would match that subject? What kind of description of doing something would match the black cat? The black cat tasted good with ooh, no, we don't want to do that. That's no good. The black cat strained her shoulder. I guess it's possible. The black cat, the large purse? No. The black cat jumped over the fence. Yeah, that's probably the best one. Black cats jump over the fence. I'm describing, oh, that was cool. I'm describing what that cat is doing. Now let's move on to the next one. Can we find another subject? The chicken. Where does that go? It's a person, place, it's a person, it's an animal. Goes here. What about the chicken? Tell me more about it. The chicken strained her shoulder or tasted good with barbecue sauce. Delicious. That's the predicate. And the last one, we got two more. The large purse, that's the thing. It's a person, place, thing. It's my subject. I'm talking about the purse. Strained her shoulder. Oh, the large purse doesn't really... Okay, we could say that. That makes sense. Because if a lady is holding a purse, carrying a purse on her shoulder, the purse can strain her shoulder. So the general idea is that a subject is what you're talking about. We're talking about the black cat, the chicken, the purse. We're talking about that. The predicate is when you describe what you're talking about. If you're talking about a black cat, don't just stop there. Tell us more about it. Describe it. It jumped over the fence. Or you could say, it clawed me. Or it meowed, or something like that. That would be the predicate. Here we're talking about the chicken. Describe the chicken. Tasted good, man. Tasted delicious. Okay? And that's basically the idea of it.